it's Hillary with Lazy Llama DIY, my little crafty corner of the YouTubes, and this is our second episode of Quarantine Crafts, because I'm quarantined again today, self-imposed, am not sick, doing really well, but I decided I'm going to try to do like a 3-day in, a 2 or 3 day in, and then a 1 day out, because I get stir crazy, and you know, if I don't like pace myself, I'll probably go out there and do something stupid, which I don't want to do. So today I thought I'd show you how to make these little post-it note holders. You know, I used to sell them on Etsy, and I used to sell them at craft fairs, and I am phasing these out of my inventory, but generally they use just a lot of scraps, paper, and I make a little band which comes off, and then it's a nice little pocket for your post-it notes. And these are black, and used to be when I sold these, I would sell them with a metallic marker, so let's just get started. Okay, so we have our purple post-it note this time. We also have a piece of scrap paper that we're going to do our little medallion, and I'm just gonna punch that out right now. Give you a little action view. Woo! It's confetti. Whoa. Rolled right into my drawer. That's funny. Oh, whoops. The little centerpiece didn't come out. But there you go. And it's kind of there, so we're just gonna yank that out. So, good enough. Good enough for government work. I have a 2-inch circle here. I think my light is not doing me a service. There we go. So I have a 2.5-inch olive circle that was just in my stash of paper scraps. And I am going to glue stick this little guy on. We'll move you down in a minute, but so this little part is whatever you want to make it. So, oh, that's just a squidge off. There we go. So this little medallion here is whatever you want to make it. I don't suggest, like, you know, getting out a full piece of paper, and just use your scraps. And I've done little dots and stars, and I've made like a mosaic out of scrap strips, and that's fine. Our little medallion is good to go. So what we'll need is, I start with a 12 by 3-inch piece of paper, double-sided. Was this double-sided? Yeah, this one is not double-sided. And I started not liking the plain inside, so now I do them completely double-sided. And this has so sweet, beautiful, blah, 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 enjoy yourself, dessert first, and then it has little popsicle ice creamy things on the inside. And I got it out of this Joie de Vivre premium stack that was on clearance at Joann's or Michael's. And it's a DCWV paper. So that's that. I got pictures of our little puppy. Isn't that cute? Look at him when he was just a little thing. Miss our little puppy. I'm using my scoreboard, but you don't have to. You can use just the post-it note. And one thing I do want to tell you is that I've gotten post-it notes from the Dollar Spot at Target. I've gotten them at Office Depot. I've gotten them at all sorts of places, and I have measurements written down, but the measurements are usually standard for post-its, and if they tell you it's like a 3-inch, it usually is, but you can tell this is probably not a post-it because there's a bump here, so it's probably an off-brand, because usually the post-it notes are a little thicker, and So you want to be mindful of the measurements. And I'm going to show you how to negotiate that when you don't have the measurements for the exact Post-it notes. So like I said, I'm using a scoreboard, bone folder, scrap paper, double-sided. I also cut a strip because I'm going to make this one really simple. So I just cut a strip off of the same paper that we're using. And so that'll look nice like that. And double stick tape. Okay, so let me just clean off some stuff and we'll point you downward and we'll get started. Okay, so I'm here with my paper, and I know that once I get my note card in there, when I fold this up, everything is going to be the writing, since I have writing on this, and this is something you might want to look into because now my little ice creams are going to be upside down. But the writing is the important thing. So I want to make sure that that orientation is correct. And what I do, since we don't need the full 12-inch strip, is I usually line up the bottom with about 9 3/4 or something from the edge, and I just draw my score line there, and then I make that fold, and now I put this here, and whoops, I flip it and I just mark where that fold is. I used the bottom of my Post-it note pad as a glue for the other piece, but I can just trace my straight line on my scoreboard and then press in. Fold over and bone well. That's for you, Kath. There we go. And so now I have this that fits nicely in here. And then I just turn it to the other end. So my notepad is in there. And I draw the closest line. It may or may not line up. Just do the closest that you can. So now I have my 3. Not a Post-it. This we got at, I believe, Office Depot. So technically we're supposed to call it a sticky note. And one of the reasons I'm actually not making them anymore is after having them on Etsy for years, I mean, I've literally been selling these for I don't even know how long. I know. Well, I joined Etsy in, when did Etsy start? Was it 2008, 2005, 2007? Somewhere around there when Etsy started. That's kind of about how long I've been selling them. And I got a cease and desist notice because I shouldn't be saying that they're Post-it notes, which I normally don't, but you know, in my tags, if they're not a Post-it note, I usually didn't put a Post-it note, but there's probably some times when I forgot. But I wrote in the tags, you know, because I thought, well, tags people, what would people look for? Were they going to look for sticky note or Post-it note? And I feel like the tag isn't necessarily saying what the item is, but, you know, oh well. Maybe it is. Maybe I wasn't. Maybe I was being unfair. But anyway, and then they would send me like a cease and desist on like 2. And Etsy would remove them from my listings and not give me any kind of like, oh, this is because you said Post-it. It says something, it's a long-winded letter, and then you have to look at the company, and then the company is what is saying like, oh, you can't do that. And you're like, oh, what did I say? What did I say? Because I had like 100 items, and I'm like, I don't know why they're taking these off. Velcro apparently does the same thing. Here, I'm just giving this a nice little scalloped edge because, you know, I'm a fancy. So as you can see, my little words are all in the proper orientation, and they open up and expose my Post-it note. And just to make that edge a little more fun, I am going to give this a little layer of scalloped edging. We're just going to cut our edge here. I usually, when I do this sort of edging, I usually butt it right up against the inside, which is right about here. So here and here. It's still a little wonky. We're just gonna, I was trying to make that a perfectly straight edge. Let's just knock it out here, shall we, and do it the right way. I love this thing from Judykins. Blade in there. And we're just gonna line this up and make sure that we're getting a nice straight line. And bladey. And you just punch that in and your blade goes away. So there we go. So that's going to give us a nice little fancy edge. And let's just double stick that down. And I think it's okay with the little pineapples inside. I don't know. What do you think? And then I can just take my scissors and trim that right off. That took way longer than it really should have. Okay, so that's the way it sits. And now it's time to put our Post-it notes in. Since I have already started with using the glue stick, normally I just use double stick tape, but we're just gonna be consistent and use the glue stick. And the way I fold that in there is because you don't have too many chances to get that right. Oh wait, am I putting this down on the wrong end? No, okay. So I just, and there we go. That is all good to go. So we have, here we go. Our Post-it notes, and here, and now we're going to do our strip, which I didn't measure how wide this was, and I never do. I just take, you know, a strip that I have and go with it. So I know that I want it to overlap in the middle where I'm going to put our medallion. So I just fold that around and I make sure that those creases are nice and sharp. And cut that somewhere. And then I take this and use my bone folder to just make sure that those creases are nice and sharp. So that helps the band to go on easier. I always think these are like really cool gifts. I did have an order for them for Christmas, and I always feel like, you know, everybody struggles with putting the band back on, and I always feel like I should put my number on there in case like people have trouble with the band. I don't know. So we're gonna just put our piece of tape there and make sure it's lined up. So now our band is on, and then we're just going to put our medallion. And the thing you have to remember about the medallion is the tape can only go on one little bit. And we're just gonna center that, plop that, and we're done. I'm just going to use some, these are Chalk It Now by K & Company. Adhesive gems they are called. And we're just going to pop one in the center. I'm thinking orange. So let's see which one, that size. So we're just going to take this, stick it down with some glue if I have to. There we go. And I've carried these in my purse, and you know, they've held up pretty well. Here we go. And now the key for the band is it pulls off fairly easy, but when people are trying to get it on, they're often like doing this, and just tell them to, you know, put their fingers here and just bend it up a little. And when you bend it, it goes right in. So that is our quarantine project for today. Episode 2. Can you believe it? 2 videos, 2 days? What? I must really be bored. But I think it was fun. Thank you so much for watching Lazy Lima DIY, where I put up videos whenever I want to. I hope you like this video enough to subscribe. Please do click the subscribe button, and you can also click the bell, which will give you a notification when I have a new video out. Yay! But don't be surprised if it's like tomorrow or if it's in 6 weeks, because life. And until the next time, go out, make something. Toodles. So I just realized that when I put the Post-it notepad in, I put it at the bottom. It still works. A little double layer of protection there. But normally I put them in the center so that there's a bottom and a top, and this isn't flipping out at the bottom. So do with it as you will. It is your project to interpret.